Yo, strike. Usyk versus Prime Mike Tyson. Who do you got winning?
Oh, I got Usyk for sure. I think Mike Tyson's pretty overrated. No disrespect.
Now, before we go into this video, I need you guys to come in with an open mind. What I'm about to tell you might sound a little crazy at first, but you guys just gotta hear me out. Mike Tyson is an amazing fighter. However, Prime Mike Tyson is nothing more but the mere belief that a boxer can never be defeated. What do I mean by this? Well, Mike Tyson is possibly, arguably, one of the most overrated heavyweights of all time. Possibly to a lot of casuals, he might even be number one. So I have a feeling, and this might already be true, but the idea of Usyk versus Mike Tyson just sounds insulting to the man. Usyk would never be able to touch Mike Tyson is what a lot of people think. People would think that Mike Tyson probably just destroys Usyk in round 3, probably like within the first minute. No one's giving Usyk a day of light of chance, right? Now what if I were to tell you Usyk can defeat Iron Mike Tyson? And if you're going to think that I will use examples after Buster Douglas defeated Mike, you are wrong. You know why I won't do that? Because I know if I do that, you guys will just use the same argument over and over. He's not the same Mike Tyson. That is not his prime. That's when he was depressed. That was when he came back from prison. Fine, I'll play your game. I will do Prime Mike Tyson and explain how Usyk can defeat him. I will use proof, reasoning, and videos, and I'll even throw in some numbers. I'll prove it to you guys. Alright, let's get into the video. First boxer I would like to use as the prime example of how Usyk can defeat Mike Tyson is Tyrell Biggs. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Mike Tyson defeated Biggs in every single round, except the first. The first was his most competitive first round ever since he had the WBC, WBA, and IBF belt. 3 belts. That sounds like a prime Mike Tyson to me. And yet he still managed to have a close round with Biggs. Do you know why? Because Biggs uses reach, height, and footwork. Now if you're still convinced Mike Tyson won the first round, HBO Box Stats had him only landing 3 punches out of 17, giving him an 18% accuracy. Meanwhile, Biggs, using his physical advantage and footwork, had 19 landed shots out of 37, giving him a 51% accuracy. Once again, if you think Biggs gassed out merely for the sake of the fact Mike Tyson was able to drop him, think again. Commentators even noticed it.
Biggs is starting to become a stationary target, which is wrong. Right hand by Tyson. A little bit of blood inside the mouth.
Now, I am not the only one who thinks this game plan will work. Sugar Ray Leonard, the man himself, said that the Ali light on your feet, keeping your distance style is enough to defeat Mike Tyson.
Well, I personally feel that Tyra Biggs possessed the tools, the physical tools, to be effective against a fighter like Mike Tyson.
So we have the proper game plan, but the variables matter such as stamina and experience. Tyrell Biggs had neither, especially stamina considering that he had a drug issue. So who is a fighter that has the stamina and the same light on their feet style that had Mike Tyson in trouble? That would have to be James Tillis, the first man to ever go the distance with Mike Tyson in a professional bout. Now, no disrespect to James Tillis, but he came into this fight somewhat of a tune-up since the man was on a 3-in-a-row losing streak before heading into the Mike Tyson fight. And one of his losses was Tyrell Biggs. So, how the hell did he manage to go the distance, and not only go the distance, but actually win rounds against Mike? Well, this fight exposed one of Mike's weaknesses, which is his stamina. You see, Mike Tyson has this insane style where it's constant pressure and always active 24/7. His output is insane, and he will never change his style no matter the foe. He will never change it. It's either his style or no style. He will not study the opponent. When he does his style, it is very taxing on the body, giving him the average 4 rounds before he gasses. James Tillis managed to survive the first rounds, and actually was the first person to make it past 6, because his style and stamina allowed him to. If this was some flat-footed boxer or a slugger, he would not have made it this far. James Tillis' style got him past round 6. Since the opening bell, Mike Tyson was winning. However, it wasn't a straight slaughter. James Tillis was able to still keep his distance and land jabs. He still lost the first rounds, however. Okay, so now we have a boxer that has the stamina and the game plan, but he still lacked the experience. I mean, hell, the man even forgot the game plan at one point and even was willing to do a trade-off with Mike Tyson. Now remember how I said the average run-out time of Mike Tyson's stamina is 4 rounds? Well, that's practically what happened in the 4th round. Mike Tyson actually scored a knockdown on the 4th round against James Tillis.
He was distracted before he got punched. Again, he lunges in and gets caught!
The left hand.
Now James does proceed to get up and make it past the round. So James Tillis, a man who was on a 3-in-a-row losing streak, was losing every round up to this point, had just got knocked down by Iron Mike Tyson. It seemed like it was close curtains at this point. The commentators themselves were even counting out James Tillis because the man gassed out against Tyrell Biggs, who gassed out against Mike.
Tillis does have a tendency to tire very badly in late rounds. He was exhausted at the end of his 8-round fight with Tyrell Biggs.
However, the commentators also did know that Mike Tyson was moving slower, because it was here in the 6th round where James Tillis actually started taking control.
Tied up, accepting clinches.
Now the crowd begins to implore Tyson. By Luis Rivera in Troy, New York, a couple of months ago. That punch missed.
Since we are talking about the possibility of the fight going the distance,
Unless there is a draw.
Mike is doing. One way is to say
A few times, perhaps the only time in the bout when we've seen it. But again, he comes on at...
Now, it wasn't just the 6th round. The dude was winning every single round after.
a docile fight so far.
he almost looks right here like he's waiting for Tillis to make the fight, to come to him.
In case you've just joined us, it is Tillis, the Fighting Expert, and Gary Bentley.
Through the doctor's examination that James Tillis...
He has lost 4 of his last 5. And Bo Williford told me... Incidentally, if you're not a boxing fan...
Tillis is not noticeably hurt by that punch.
But he's cut.
Mike Tyson still had his usual burst of aggression. However, because he was exhausted and James Tillis looked fresh, he still practically dodged every single meaningful shot Mike Tyson threw at him.
You see what Tyson did there. He scored the right hand to the body, missed with the right uppercut that we thought he could land if he kept throwing it, but continued to punch. And he's fought harder and stronger, really, than I've ever seen him fight in his career, including the time he fought for the title. He is showing something that a lot of people have questioned over his career, and that is his heart. He's cut, he's taken some brutal punches, and he is fighting back, moving, and still trying to win this fight.
These are the scorecards of many fans who wanted to score the fight themselves, only giving Mike Tyson the early rounds while James Tillis took advantage of a gassed Mike. Okay, so James Tillis, he had the stamina and the game plan, but not the experience. Usyk has the stamina, the game plan, and the experience, not to mention he has a southpaw, which is an interesting fact, by the way. James Tillis is a southpaw, but decided to fight orthodox against Mike. Usyk would give Mike trouble just simply by fighting southpaw. Also, just a random fun fact, Mike Tyson's apparently also left-handed, but his trainer conditioned him how to fight orthodox. Now, I low-key want to use a couple of Usyk fights as much as I can to prove this point, but the video's kind of getting dragged on, and I've just been, like, really bashing on Mike lately. And if I try using Usyk's latest fights, chances are the video might get taken down. So, apparently, Usyk's light on his feet. He knows how to L-step, pivot, everything. The man has stamina, plus he's a southpaw. Mike has not fought not many southpaws, probably if any. I'll try to find that out. Also, if you're doubting that Usyk can keep Mike at a distance long enough until he gasses, keep in mind James Tillis was able to do it, and he came from cruiserweight. Same with Evander Holyfield, but I know you guys don't count that as prime, whatever. Also, Usyk wobbled AJ in that one fight than AJ has in his entire career. I mean, hell, AJ has been wobbled by the likes of Dylan White, Andy Ruiz, and Klitschko, which are all powerhouses in their own right. Also, I know you guys don't consider this prime, but it should also say something that Mike Tyson's first loss was to Buster Douglas, who fought the same game plan. Light on their feet, using reach, physical advantage. Usyk is 6'3". And that's just my opinion on how Usyk has the tools in his toolbox to defeat a prime Mike Tyson. I mean, hell, because of his amateur background and his Olympics, Usyk might possibly be the most experienced boxer Mike would have ever faced, besides an ancient Larry Holmes. Usyk has shown that his pivoting and angle shots were a problem for people such as Witherspoon, Anthony Joshua, and the fact that he let Chisora gas himself out was also high ring IQ. Now, I hope that this was somehow able to convince your mind. I hope I managed to make you think it was a closer fight at the very least. And if you made it to the end of the video, thanks. This is low-key a pain in the butt. I was hyping it up saying, oh, it was cool edits, but really it's nothing special. I just suck at editing. That's probably why it took long. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you disagree with anything, I'll try to debate you or something. I don't know. Thanks for watching.